up, beautiful people? Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Natalie Nadeen here. If you're a first time visitor, hey boo hey, welcome to my channel. It's your girl Natalie Nadeen. Make sure by the end of this video you hit that like button, that share button, that subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. And if you like me all that much, hit me up on social media. All the information is down below in the description box. Now that we got that out the way, let's get into this video. Now as you can see, your girl kind of has a whole different setup going on. Like there's a fridge, there's cabinets. So as you can see, I'm not really filming in my room today. Instead, I'm filming in the kitchen. Your girl is going to film how she makes lasagna. Now mind you, I'm gonna link it somewhere up here, but it was part of my vision board for 2020 to learn how to cook. And I figured if I'm gonna learn how to cook, at least let me start with my favorite dish, my favorite meals, and you know, that'll get me wanting to cook even more. Obviously, the first thing I learned, and I feel like I mastered, is lasagna. So I'm gonna show you guys how I make lasagna. Obviously, everybody makes it differently. Obviously, everyone likes different things in their food, but this is just how I make it. And for me, this is kind of like a video diary, a little virtual recipe to remind me later on. So let's get into this video. Okay you guys, so I'm just going to show you guys kind of the equipment you're going to need, the ingredients. So we're going to start over here. You're going to want a fresh pack of spinach. Make sure that you wash your spinach before using it. Our cutting board and our knife. Here we have the dish that the lasagna is going to go into. It's pretty big. I don't know if the camera will really show it as much, but it's a pretty big dish. Also we have our shredder, our cheddar and mozzarella cheese. For a size this big, you're gonna make sure you actually have a lot of cheese. You'll be surprised how much you actually use up. I have 2 jars of sauces and also some ketchup. Don't sleep on that. Ketchup be making it taste delectable. Also we have our all-purpose seasoning. Let's focus. All-purpose seasoning, black pepper, white pepper, some salt. Haha, look at that secret ingredient right there. Garlic powder, and most importantly, you want to have oven ready lasagna noodles. This is going to take away that step of having to boil off the noodles first. Make sure the noodles are cooked, not overcooked, not undercooked. This will save you a whole step and a lot of time. So this is just to give you guys an overview of all the products and tools I'll be using today. Okay, now this step was done off camera, but as you can see in the pot, I have my ground beef. It's already pre-washed, vinegar, lemon juice, whatever you personally use. If you don't wash your meat, I recommend that you do. But yeah, as you can see, I have my meat already here, washed and ready to go. So we're just gonna turn on the oven. I like to keep it on the stove. Put the stove to 7, and we're just gonna let this cook and let the water kind of boil off. I am also going to preheat my oven to 350. I want to know, does anyone else ever put their oven past or below 350? I feel like that's just the standard when it comes to cooking. So yeah, we're gonna get that all situated, and then we're gonna move back to the counter to get all the other steps out the way. Alright you guys, so like I said, while the ground beef is cooking on the stove, we're gonna do some of the other side steps. So before we even touch any of this, I'm just gonna make sure we wash our hands, everything's clean, because we are gonna have to touch the spinach and the cheese. So we're just gonna make sure we give our hands a good thorough wash. Especially if you know what's going on during these times, you can't be too careful. Just get in there and make sure we're nice and clean. So right now I'm just gonna take away some of the stuff off the counter that we don't need as yet. Just to kind of give ourselves a nice clean open space to work with. So right now I'm gonna take my spinach. Like I said, the spinach is freshly washed. Look how, like you can still see the water dripping. So you know this is fresh spinach, nice and clean. Now you don't have to cut this in any kind of fancy way. I usually just bunch it up together as much as my hand can handle. Get a nice sharp knife and you're just gonna cut them up small. Almost like we're shredding it. And you're gonna wanna cut enough to fill a whole layer of the lasagna. I like to make sure when I fill my layers, everything is covered. Like I don't want to see any missing spots, because you want to make sure every bite that you take is going to be delectable and that you're getting a bit of everything inside. So actually, so this doesn't fly all over the place, I'm going to get a plate and I'm just going to put the spinach that is nicely cut into the plate just so I don't lose it. Okay, get some more out the bag. And like I said, it's all based on the size of your dish or the pan that you're using for your lasagna. So the amount of spinach, I always hate so much stems. The size, sorry, not the size. The amount that you're using is by your own personal discretion. You can choose if you want to have a lot, if you want to have a little, if you want to be like me and fill everything up, or you just want to like sprinkle a little 1, 2 here and there. Right, so as you can see, it's just shredded, nothing fancy, right? Just small enough, oops, lost a leaf, small enough to get into every bite. You have it, some nice freshly cut spinach. Just gonna close up the bag. And then I'm going to move on to the next step. All right, you guys, so just a little heads up. At least my mom came, help out a bit. So pretty much, I was cutting up the spinach, but you want to make sure too that you're still checking your pot and that you keep stirring it because you don't want to just clump up together and get hard together. Again, you want to be ground beef, so you want to be able to kind of spread it on your lasagna. So just kind of make sure you're checking it every once in a while, you're stirring it up. As you can see, we're already getting a little brown color going on. Yes, mommy, stir up the pot. All right, you guys, so now that everything's boiled off, we threw out the water, you just kind of have just the dry ground beef. Hopefully you guys can see it. So just kind of keep stirring that in the pot, let it continue to cook. But right now, I'm also going to add my seasonings. So, make sure that our pot is nicely placed on the stove, not trying to have an accident. So, showed you guys my seasonings already. So we're gonna use something called all-purpose. I don't know if it's gonna focus, but you should already know what that looks like. So, I know some people are like, oh my gosh, you need to put this teaspoon, that tablespoon. I cook the black way, where you stop when the ancestors tell you to stop. So we put a little all-purpose seasoning. I'm throwing a little black pepper. When in doubt, add pepper. Add just a little bit of salt. Like I said, I kind of want to make this as flavorful as possible because you also don't want, oops, is there any salt coming out? There you go. You also don't want it to pretty much get overpowered by the sauce or the ketchup or whatever you're using. So black pepper, salt, white pepper, all-purpose seasoning. And you kind of just go to your liking, your discretion. So let me just kind of stir everything. Make sure every inch of the ground beef is getting hit by the seasoning. I also have a little bit of garlic powder. Mind you, it doesn't matter what brand that you use for your seasoning. To me, seasoning is seasoning. It doesn't really matter. Now, I call this a secret ingredient, a little jerk. Spice up your life like a spice girl. So we're just gonna take a little spoonful. Not too much, because obviously it's not like we're making jerk chicken or anything. But you want just enough to give it some flavor. So we're just gonna put a little bit more. And I'm putting this on the dry meat itself, not with the sauce, so it really soaks up the flavor. So, ooh, let's move that out the way. I'm gonna close that back up. And then we're just gonna stir this around. And like I said, you're gonna stir, keep cooking just to make sure everything's getting the flavor, everything's getting the seasoning. Mind you, for the size dish that I'm using, I am using 2 pounds of ground beef. Just to kind of give you guys an idea of how much you can buy. Obviously, if you're using a smaller dish, you can buy less meat. Everything is to your personal liking, to your discretion. Right now, I'm just going to make sure I use a different spoon. I don't want to use the spoon that's mixing the meat. I'm going to take a different spoon. And we're just going to test it just to make sure it tastes right, we have the right amount of seasoning. Do I need more of something? So, we're just going to cool it off. Sorry you can't see me on camera, but yeah. Okay, you guys, I'm liking it, I'm liking it. Kind of lost my upper mid for a second. I still feel like we can do a little bit more seasoning. Like I said, it is like 2 pounds worth of beef, so you kind of want to make sure everything's being covered. So I'm putting in a little extra all-purpose seasoning and garlic powder. I'm not going to put in any more pepper because we use 3 kinds of pepper. Black pepper, white pepper, the jerk. So I just use a little bit of garlic powder and the all-purpose seasoning. And I'm just going to mix this up again. Make sure I'm breaking down the ground beef. Everything's cooked and stirred to my liking. I'm one of those people too, when I stir my meat, I like to kind of just break it apart with a spoon. That way we have more to distribute throughout the lasagna, because this has to go for 2 layers. Okay, we're gonna do one more test. So like I said, make sure you have your separate spoon for the test. Try not to use the same spoon that you cook with to test with, because obviously, especially if you're feeding it to other people, that's how you pass along germs. And during this time, we're not trying to do that. Now personally, I feel like I definitely hit the jackpot with the seasoning. So we're gonna move on to the next step. I'm just gonna leave this on low. Or, you know, it can go a little bit more. I'll leave it on medium. Let's do medium instead. And we're gonna just cover it up a bit, not fully, but we'll leave it a little bit open so a little steam can get through. Alright, there you have it. Next step. Alright you guys, so I kind of zoomed in some more. So next up, we're gonna grate our cheese for the first layer of the lasagna. So I just kind of got myself a plate so the cheese will collect in, obviously. I'm just gonna grate away. Again, you want enough cheese to cover the layer. And I'm definitely a cheese person, so I want to make sure every inch, corner, nook, and cranny of the dish is covered to the max. So as you can see, we have our cheese and we have our spinach. So I'm just gonna put the grater over there. Ooh! And now we're gonna go to the next step. Ooh, all right, you guys. So next up on the list, like I said, our meat has been seasoning. It was cooked. It's just here chilling on the stove. So right now, I'm gonna turn this down a bit because I don't wanna overcook it and I don't wanna cook down the sauce that we're gonna need for the lasagna. So I'm just gonna mix everything around there. So like I said, you need your 2 jars of sauces. Shake that up. Ooh. Y'all, I'm weak. Trying to open the sauce. Hercules. We're just gonna pour all that in there. Pour it all in. Boom. I also have a little brush thing. You know, a lot of people use it for barbecuing purposes. Just gonna rinse that off real quick. Little foodie brush. And just to make sure we get all the sauce out of the jar. When you put the lasagna to bake in the oven, you don't want it, it's gonna use the sauce to cook, right? So you wanna make sure you are not short on your sauce and that you have enough. Jar number 2. Pour that in there. I also try to just use the same sauce so you have the same flavor throughout. Okay, so we have a little secret ingredient, got a little ketchup to go in. Don't hate on the ketchup, y'all, don't hate. Now I'm just gonna make sure our meat, every inch of it, is nicely cooked in the sauce, as you can see. Hopefully you can. I'll try to bring it closer for you guys in a sec. But I've done this last time with this dish, so I pretty much know, in a sense, how long it takes, how much of the ingredients. So last time I used 2 jars and it turned out perfectly. Because obviously you want enough meat and you want enough sauce. You don't want one to overpower the other because you don't want it to be too dry, and at the same time you don't want it to be saucy and no meat, or not saucy at all, no meat at all, just noodle and spinach. Right? So look at that. Even I think another half a jar can do. Maybe because this dish is bigger, but I'm not gonna use the whole thing. We're just gonna do half a jar just to make sure we're saucy enough. Ooh, 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 ooh. Okay, that looks like half a jar. We're just gonna make sure we stir that up. Like I said, I still have my stove on low just to keep everything hot and going, but I don't want it to like overcook and dry out the pot. Alrighty you guys, so we're on the next step now. So we brought back the dish to the counter, and with the jars that I had used from the sauce, there is a little scoop left. So you kind of just want to take your brush and just kind of wet your pan. Obviously you don't need to go crazy, open a new jar for this. Just what's ever left from the jars that you did use, just kind of scoop it out and paint along your pan. That way, when you're making your lasagna, the noodles aren't gonna stick too much to the dish. So I kind of like to just wipe it all around, even along the sides. Scoop up whatever I can. So like I said, remember, we're taking away a step. So I bought oven ready noodles. So pretty much this will cook in the oven. You don't need to pre-boil, pre-cook, do whatever. You can automatically eliminate that step. So they just look like this, and you're just gonna lay them flat in your dish. Again, making sure every nook and cranny is covered. So as you can see, the whole bottom layer is full. I also like to sometimes just kind of shift mine just to kind of see, do I need to break a noodle to just kind of put along the side? I'm pretty much just kind of break this just so I can put it along the side there. But can I break this properly is the question. So we're gonna kind of just measure that out. Snap it. Oop. Snap a little more. Ooh. broke in half for me. Thank you, Noodle. And we're just gonna kind of lay it flat. So there you go. As you can see, I tried to get everything covered. So my noodles go straight along, and then we have the one that goes along the side. Okay, so as you can see, my meat, my lasagna. So you're gonna lay the noodles down, check. Every inch of the bottom is covered. Now we're gonna take our ground beef in the sauce. Ooh, let's kind of shift that over a bit. And we're just gonna spray it on. Spray it on like a spray paint. I'm gonna pour it and spread it on. Thumbs up if you guys are liking this tutorial. If you guys want me to do another one. Comment if there's anything I could do differently. My first time, so bear with me. As you can see, completely full. There's no trace of the noodles, no nothing. So right now we have our spinach, and this is when you really see if you have enough spinach. Something tells me already that I do not. I'm gonna cut some more. Alright you guys, so we cut up some more spinach. I just made it faster by using a kitchen knife. As you can see, whole layer of spinach. This makes me feel like I'm being very healthy with my veggies, my greens. Next up, we're gonna take our shredded cheese. Kind of just mix that up. And we're just gonna sprinkle it on. Remember, we have our noodles, meat sauce, spinach, cheese. Now we're gonna put our next layer. Again, I always like to try and go as much to the edge as possible, just to kind of make sure we have everything covered. And as you can see, there's that big thick strip. So I'm gonna break apart. Okay. So the whole layer, everything should be covered as much as possible. And just kind of try and push it down a bit. Make sure you have enough room for the next layer of sauce. So all this pasta sauce I have left in the pot needs to pretty much go on top. Now to kind of give you guys a little heads up, read the box of your pasta noodle, because some of them will tell you to cover the dish with tin foil and let it cook. Some of them tell you it's not required. The pasta noodles I'm using, it's not required. So we're just gonna put it into the oven as is. And the last time I timed this for 35 minutes. And it was just the right amount of time. Alright you guys, so as you saw in the last clip, we put the lasagna into the oven, and now we're gonna shred some more cheese because this is for that top layer. So I still have part of my block left over. So we're just gonna shred the rest of this. It's a big question, but let me know in the comment section down below. Do you guys wash your meat before you cook, or do you just take it out the package and get to going? Let me know. Oh, this cheese. Ooh, ooh. Can't wait to put this on. that we shredded this. I'm just gonna cover it up, keep it fresh. And we're gonna wait till our lasagna is pretty much done before we put this on. So I'll be back.
A few moments later.
Alright you guys, it's been a minute since you've seen my face. So the lasagna's been in the oven for about 35 to 40 minutes. So now we're just gonna take it out and we're gonna spread the last layer of cheese on, and we're gonna put it to broil for like no longer than 5 minutes. Even last time I left it for like 3 minutes and it was more than enough. So I'm gonna show you guys what we're dealing with now. As you guys can see, lasagna, it's cooked, it's smoking. Now we're gonna take our cheese, and this is gonna be the last official layer. We're just gonna make sure we sprinkle this on. Open back up the oven. We're gonna change the stove, or the oven, sorry, to broil. And that is so the heat touches the top of the lasagna. So like I said, I'm not gonna leave this in for any longer than like 5 minutes. And I'm putting it on the top shelf of the oven so the heat really hits it. Like I said, 3 minutes. I'm gonna take it out and show you guys the final results. So we turned off the oven and now we're gonna take it out for the moment of truth. So like I said, honestly, no longer 3 to 5 minutes. Even 5 minutes could be a stretch. Mind you, my oven was at 350 this whole time. Then we moved it straight to broil. Okay. Let me just bring this closer so you guys can see it. Okay, you guys, boom. It is sizzling, it is cooked. So I'm gonna let it cool a bit before I cut and show you guys the inside and the final piece. But that is pretty much lasagna. Oops, focus. Kind of see the spinach, the noodles, all the layers. Oh yes. Oh, I can't wait to dig in. Alright you guys, so we're back. As you can see, the lasagna is nicely placed on the counter. So I'm gonna go ahead and just cut it up into 12, serving a bunch of people, and kind of just show you guys the layers and the inside, and just, you know, do a little final taste test. I'm so excited. So just got my oven mitt on because you know the dish is hot. Which one do I want to try? Which one do I want to try? No, we can take a little edge piece right here. Will I be able to take this up without any problems? Ah, oops, 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 oops. You see? It's okay. I missed a piece of my noodle. That's all right. That's why I say you have to make sure when you're cutting it to the max. But yes, ooh, leave that over there. Bring this forward. Don't watch it too tough, just because I didn't want to wait for it to cool. Get my fork right here. As you guys can see, I have my lasagna ready. So let me know if you guys like this whole lasagna making tutorial. Did I do a good job? What could I have done differently? Let me just say, it is very hard to cook and film at the same time. Like, I need a partner to come like record me next time. Like, y'all, I work too hard take a piece of my lasagna as a reward. Bon appetit! Good. It tastes good, it tastes good. So, make sure if you guys like this video, you give it a thumbs up. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend for tell a friend for tell a friend. Leave a comment down below if you like the tutorial. If I should try cooking something else, as in learn the recipe first, then record it. Let me know if anything I could have added in the lasagna, anything I could have done differently. And yeah, don't forget to subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Much love. Peace.